Hey everyone, Xander here, just to give you some context to the release schedule this week. So, to celebrate the much anticipated Babenheimer weekend, we decided to discuss both Barbie and Oppenheimer. But because we wanted to give both movies the respect they deserved, we ended up having a recording time of nearly 4 hours. So we've decided to split the episode into 2 parts. The first part covers Oppenheimer, whilst the second covers Barbie. We go into full spoilers for both movies, and the time codes for those spoilers will be in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Film Me In podcast.
5, 4, 3,
10, 9,
2,
1. Awesome sauce.
Amazing.
I'll join at 3, thank you very much.
I didn't even think we were doing that. I was very confused.
I saw the clap. I'll hear the clap. It's fine.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the Film Me In podcast. This week I'm taking the reins. My name is Hamish Beaton, and today I am joined by a fantastic cast of other people. We've got Xander Langwiston.
Hey, it's me.
We've got Joseph Cook.
You see, I'm something of a magician, inventor, and chocolate maker, so quiet up and listen down. No, scratch that, reverse it. Yeah, I'm alright.
You've rehearsed that for quite some time. Siobhan.
Hiya, Barbie!
I love how it didn't carry through on our end. And we are joined by a guest on this week, the fantastic Twitch streamer Tiny Katie.
Whoa, I have no life. Let's go.
Woo!
Awesome stuff. So on this week's docket, we have the double bill of Barbenheimer. Whoop whoop.
Whoa!
Let's go.
The
Pretty.
biggest cinematic release that has hit this year. We've all been on the edge of our seats watching for an explosion. Spoilers. And I haven't seen Barbie yet. I'm here for the first half of this podcast, and then I'm passing the reins on to someone else. But I guess one of the most influential movies out there. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. The cinemas have been full all week. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. It's great to see people going out in costumes and stuff like that. The amount of people that were in suits at my Oppenheimer screening yesterday were incredible.
As they should be.
I don't know how you sit there for 3 hours in a suit like that. It was really hot.
I couldn't even do it in a pink shirt. That was tricky.
Ooh.
We mainly
Rocking the salmon.
had old people at our screening.
Oh, yeah.
Oppenheimer.
I had
Just
some
a lot,
old men.
A
Reliving
lot of old
history
people.
at Oppenheimer.
I had them struggling to go up and down the stairs, so in the
Yes.
end they just changed seats and sat on the front row when they came back from the toilet. It was so funny. I was like, I know where you sat. You're in the
To
wrong
be fair,
seat now.
You've got to be quite brave to watch that movie in the front row,
Oh my
knowing
god,
what
yes.
happens in it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so before we get into all of that, we're going to go through our weekly moan. Xander, give us a moan.
I have a moan, and I'm curious to see who will be in on this moan. This week we saw a trailer released for The Exorcist Believer.
Oh, I still haven't seen it.
Oh no.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so it is a
I know.
legacy sequel to the original Exorcist, which was released, checks watch, 50 years ago. And this trailer sees like 2 people getting possessed and needing an exorcism.
Whoa.
Now, the thing about The Exorcist is that, one thing, it was made 50 years ago. That's a long time ago. 2, I don't know anyone that is like overly nostalgic about this franchise, other than the fact that the first one was like one of the greatest horror movies ever made. So like, that's fine. We've had sequels to it, they didn't work in the past, whatever. We've moved on, and we've had so many different exorcism movies over the years that when The Exorcist came out, it was like, people didn't really know what exorcisms were, or what exorcists did. And now, since then, we've had so many movies about exorcisms and exorcists. We literally had one with Russell Crowe earlier this year called The Pope's Exorcist.
On his little moped.
On his little moped. And he was listening to ABBA or something. So, I don't see a need to rehash this franchise. And also, they're trying to do, like, that legacy sequel thing where they bring back someone from the original, and they're bringing back the girl's mum. And it's like, this has happened before. And it's like, this isn't like Halloween. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is an icon from Halloween. I don't know who this woman is.
I don't remember
Like,
any of the characters.
It's really silly, it looks really bad, and not very scary. The one thing I will say is that the posters do look very cool.
That's good because I
and
made
s-
them.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I'm not claiming that.
But
Ouch!
yeah, no, I'm
doing Joe's reputation like that.
Yeah.
I'm baffled that this exists and that for some reason we're getting a trilogy of these films.
Wait, what?
And also, we're getting a trilogy. Yeah, the next one comes out in Easter in 2025.
Why?
And it's all directed by the guy who just made the Halloween trilogy. Which, if you'd asked me, if you told me this 5 years ago when that first one came out, I'd have been like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be the best thing ever." And now he's done 2 really bad sequels. I'm like, I don't care anymore. Let it die. Let it shrivel
it
up.
die,
let it die.
Let it shrivel
Let
up
it shrivel
and
up
die.
and die.
So yeah, that's my moan. Sorry. If does anyone else have anything to say about that? Because I saw it.
No, that sounds absolutely dreadful.
If you want to see a good like Exorcist, watch the new Haunted Mansion movie with Owen Wilson as an exorcist.
You should actually watch Mr. Boogedy.
Oh,
It's on
No, Jared
Disney
Leto's in
Plus.
it.
Oh, is he?
Is
In
Jared
Mr.
Leto
Boogedy?
in Mr. Boogedy?
No, Jared Leto's in Haunted Mansion.
I was about to watch.
I was
Mr.
going to
Boogedy.
say, this is his first role in film, Mr. Boogedy.
I know, right? My moan is it's Quentin Tarantino. I just don't like the man.
That is a good moment, actually.
It's a
Why is he
blunt
getting
one.
shots? What's he done this week?
I just like I've been like watching loads of like news in like the world of cinema and like interviews and such, and there's Quentin Tarantino, like on like some sort of like Jimmy Kimmel show, Jimmy Fallon, and they're like, so Tarantino, you've talked about what like is a perfect movie. You don't have a favorite movie. You have a perfect movie. What falls into that perfect movie? And he, like, the little man sits there and, like, you know, dances about in his seat a little bit, back and forth, and he goes, yeah. What actually makes a perfect movie is, first of all, he speaks like
Ben
someone
Shapiro?
who goes, yeah, he speaks like someone who goes, actually, I only date 10s. Like, but then, like, he starts going, like, a perfect movie is a movie that, in my opinion, no one can dispute. And it's like, alright,
Does it
well,
have
that
feet?
is the definition of a perfect movie, you fucking melon. And then, and then he starts just, like, listing off, like, cult classics. He's like, Jaws, I think, is a perfect movie. It's like, yes, it is critically acclaimed. Well done, Quentin Tarantino, fountain of all knowledge, that WatchMojo.com also agrees with. Like,
He's just rehearsed that list, hasn't he?
yeah, no, the guy, and then, like, to be fair, he starts listing off some older movies. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll, like, read into these. But they're all movies I've heard about before. It's like, Quentin Tarantino, like, people come to you as if, like, you're some sort of edgy, like, filmmaker that comes out. He has a brilliant style of making movies, not one that I'm fully behind, but he has definitely a certain style behind him, and I appreciate that. But, like, you're a foot fetish goblin who speaks as if they only date 10s. Like, oh, sorry, I'm going after the man, but like, I'm sick to death of people being like, he's a cinematic genius. And then I watched the first 20 minutes of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I understand why it's only the action clips uploaded to YouTube and TikTok, because half of it is them. It's like a shot, 3 shots, the audacity, the 3 shots of a car driving from the top of a hill, down a hill, taking a right-hand turn and down a motorway. It does nothing for the movie. Nothing for the fucking movie. It's like watching Zack Snyder, except Snyder was like allowed to put even more establishing shots in a movie. I hate it.
I like the
I
interview
quite like
where
that movie.
I like the interview where he's talking
I'm
to
glad
this
you're
woman,
wrong.
and she's like, "Why is there so much violence in your movie?" And he's like, "I don't know, Jan." I love that interview.
My favorite one was whenever he was considering talking about picking up the Star Trek franchise, and then his like Star Trek fans. I don't think he understands. Star Trek fans just want a good fucking movie that appreciates the
Yeah,
source
anyone
material.
wants that.
No, but like Star Trek fans have had it rough after the third one. The third remake.
The third one.
Beyond's
was
not
good.
bad.
It was
Beyond?
driving around on a dirt bike on loops.
It's fun.
But then like
It's nothing that the original didn't do.
Good movie.
But then,
Pretty good trilogy.
but then like
Okay.
Quentin. I was bored. I was bored as all
It's got
hell.
Simon Pegg in it. It's quite good.
Yeah. But
Carl Urban. Who doesn't like
Carl Urban's game with Spock. It's quite cool. It's got Michael
then you
Giacchino
get to
doing the
like
soundtrack.
no, but then you get to like you let me speak. Then
Sylvia Patel's in it.
then you get to like
Prosthetics are really good.
Idris Elba's the baddie. And he is a baddie.
then you get to like the interview with him when he's like, I'm thinking of picking up Star Trek. I think my Star Trek movie is going to be the first to drop the first F-bomb.
Oh,
As if like that's the selling point.
To be honest, I wouldn't say no to seeing Spock say fuck.
Oh,
I would
I'd
be
love
too,
that.
but like,
that
that's
would be
not
the greatest
selling point of the
F-bomb.
movie. It's not the selling point of the movie.
Yes, it is.
Can you imagine Spock straight-faced in a sex scene? Like, it's only logical that I put a condom on.
Oh no.
To get the maximum pleasure from your orgasm, lift your leg here.
Oh my god. Ribbed for your pleasure.
This is gonna be a fun episode.
Xander's gonna have fun recording this one, not recording editing.
No, I like Tarantino movies, and I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like,
I think it's boring.
feel called out, but anyway,
Wait, Xander, do you like Pulp Fiction?
a lot, yeah.
Oh, you fucking twat.
But it's what do you mean? It's like really good.
No, it's not.
What do you
It
mean?
is the most overrated. It is the most overrated piece of dog shit I've ever seen.
What do you mean it's not good?
Yes!
Nah, I agree. Pulp Fiction's
No,
Pulp
So-
it is
great.
shockingly overrated.
So, we need to go out and get a drink after the
So is The Godfather, but that's a different conversation.
So true. Anyway,
Yes.
moving
Well then.
swiftly on. Who else has got a moan? Ooh, Josan was up first.
Sorry. Mine is short series finales and finales that just do not wrap stuff up. Now, some of you may know that a little series has been released over the past
Little
6
series.
weeks. Yeah, emphasis on little, even though it's got a big budget. Called Secret Invasion. Like, okay, I was giving it a chance. There's some really good character stuff in there, some good monologues and some good acting. But it got to the final episode, and I was just like, it was just a bit average, and not a lot of stuff was wrapped up, and what was wrapped up was rushed, or the choices they made in wrapping them up was really weird. It just feels like, I hate to say it felt like a waste of my time. I don't want to say that, but
But it was.
it was. It's just, I went straight to see one saying, oh no, I didn't like it. Like, I hate this 6-episode format. It's not enough time. WandaVision got 9 episodes, and even then, I think that needed a bit more time. 6 episodes, especially if you're going down to 36 minutes, including credits and titles, is not enough time to tell a good story.
For a finale.
And a finale. It was the shortest episode of the series. The finale. Bearing in mind, episode 1 was, 55 minutes? Episode 2 was
Yep.
about the same. And then it just gradually dropped.
That's
What
disgusting.
happened? It was just... I was just so disappointed. And I really want to go back to, like, episodes that are consistent in length and are long enough to tell a story.
Well,
If you've
see-
only got 6 episodes, have a story that you can tell in 6 episodes. Don't pick a story like Secret Invasion where you cannot do that in 6 episodes. That's my moan.
Very good.
It was a
Thank you.
damn
Very
good
good.
moan.
And an unmoanable against moan as well. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be a
Really
game.
brought the room together after that Tarantino comment.
You're the only one that doesn't agree with the Tarantino one.
I'm undecided because I haven't seen Pulp Fiction, so...
You haven't seen
Don't.
Pulp Fiction.
Don't,
you have
please,
told
don't!
Simon has told me many times, Joe, it's shit, so...
It's good.
No, it's not. Like, it's okay, but it's the most overrated thing.
It's not over. It is a kind of overrated, but it did so much. Like, it was so like amazing. That's the It's not like, oh, it's a spectacular film. It's that the way that it got released and when and what it included. That's what makes it
It's
amazing.
important.
I can give.
So is Kill Bill, and that's actually good.
Still not a good film.
I hate Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs, Memento. Not Memento.
That's
no,
Nolan.
Memento. Not Memento. Yeah. No. Wrong
Inglourious
person.
Bastards.
But that one's a bit long too.
I agree with all the rest of them that I don't really like those, but Pulp Fiction.
Inglourious Bastards is great, and it has a
Kill
swear
Bill
word in
and
it.
Reservoir Dogs are so much better. And Django. Django's better
I've not seen
too.
Django's
Django.
Django's
I've
too
seen
long.
Rango with the lizard.
No.
I've seen Rango as well.
Rango's great.
good.
No,
Rango.
Django's
top tier.
Django's like half hour too long.
No.
It keeps-
well,
it just
still
keeps-
better than Pulp
It
Fiction.
keeps going. Anyway, does someone else have a moan?
Yeah, I haven't even said my moan.
Go on, Suan.
Neither.
Maybe I should change it. My moan is the fact that I've been to 2 cinemas this week, and none of them compare to View.
Yeah.
That's shit.
The view we had, it had recliner chairs, it had a good sized table, it was the comfiest thing.
It was cheap.
I miss it.
It
And it's
didn't
cheap.
smell of piss.
Exactly.
They didn't have my Tango Ice Blast, though,
Exactly.
so I'm a bit upset about that.
I went to 2 of them. One was Cineworld, one was like a local one I went to with my friend. The local one was better than Cineworld because it had a table, but it was still a small table. I want my View back. I miss it.
I literally got a message from Sky, who works View, saying, "Joe, you've betrayed us because you're going to Cineworld." I'm like, believe me, if I could still go to View, I would, but I cannot because there's not one in near where I live.
One thing I will say about View is that their screens, everyone I've been to, all the screens are so consistent in terms of quality and sound. The one I go to near my place is an Odeon, and I have to look when I'm booking at what screen I'm booking into, and I will change the times I'm going depending on what screen I'm in, because some of the screens are awful. They are absolutely awful. Like the sound mixing is terrible. The screen isn't good enough. There's marks on the screen sometimes. There's one screen where the ceiling is half caved in.
Nice.
Love
part of
that.
the
Yeah,
experience.
and also a couple of weeks ago it was struck by lightning. So I
yeah.
told that story the other week. Yeah, no, View actually might be the GOAT.
Yeah.
It might be.
I miss it.
That's also Cineworld just got worse because of that advert that has all the TikTokers in it.
God, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Were those TikTokers?
It's the most cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know the one where they're all dancing
That
or everything?
hurt my soul when I watched
They're
that.
all different. They're all different, like influencers. And I was like, hang on, I recognise that person. And they're doing the most. It's so cringy. It just makes me want to go. Oh,
I have
hate
a
it.
question about that. So this played twice for me on the same day, and I
Yeah.
want to hurt myself when I watched
Yeah,
it.
same.
But in like the opening, it pans to this girl and it holds on her for like a second. I'm like, what's going on? Who is this? Is she a TikToker?
I don't know
she
about
looked
that
like a
one, but I
zombie,
assume
honestly.
she is.
Like, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss Daniel Kaluuya yelling at me.
I don't. We're never gonna
Yeah,
get that
Like,
again.
I hated that because it's so condescending, but I miss it.
We're not
I
gonna
want
get that
him to
again.
say, put your screen down, you can do it.
Wait, no, there's a View near me, kind of.
Caitlin, I'm coming to yours next.
In Odeon, they don't specifically have someone to say, turn your phone off. They don't
They
have that
don't.
anymore.
They don't.
They say there's only one screen you should be looking at, but that you need someone to say, turn off your phone, because it's like that's the contract.
People don't
isn't it?
listen to that anyway, though. But
I miss it. I want it back.
And
It's the little
speaking
things
of
in
which,
life, you know.
small moan on that. The guy who I went and watched this movie with, listening right now, you know who you are. You checked your phone. You checked your Discord in the middle of Oppenheimer. I saw that.
I will. No, I'll say that later.
No, someone walked into my screening of Oppenheimer 20 minutes into the movie, which is 40 minutes after the start time. 40 minutes, and
How
you're never
are
going to
you
guess where
that
they were
late?
sat.
Right at the
Next to
front.
you.
Next to me.
Oh,
of course.
funny.
Vile
Funny.
creatures.
Caitlin, do you have a moan?
I do have
Yes.
a moan. Mine is not film related.
That's fine.
I hate editing. I hate editing so much. Yeah,
Sounded
I've
like
just-
yes.
Finally, someone
just-
speaks my language.
I just posted a video on my YouTube, and I
Shameless
basically
plug.
had no time
Plug,
to.
plug, plug.
We had to. Of course.
Go check it out.
I had to film it and edit all of it, and we had to come up with the entire plot in like 4 days, if like less than that. I was up until like 4 a.m. editing, and I was just like, I hate this. I hate this with a passion. I'm really proud of the video, even though I'm hating it even more now because I'm going, oh, there's so many mistakes. There's so many editing mistakes that I just, it hurts my soul. But Joe, why do you do that to yourself?
I don't know. What I did find funny was because you called me about editing this photo, and before that I was on call with Xander, and I was moaning to him about how I just despise AI. And then you call me up and like, Joe, how do you use AI on Photoshop? And I was like, and I just said to you, Caitlin, I'm not really the biggest fan of AI.
Yeah, no, editing
I prefer
sucks.
AI. I prefer AI just because it makes me do less editing.
She's anti-SAG. She's anti-SAG.
Ooh.
Scab!
Oh, is it
That's
SCAB?
a
Did I call it SAG?
controversial-
Scab.
Is this? I called it SAG.
No,
I don't know what it's called.
you're a scab worker
don't-
if you work during a strike. You're a scab.
Ah.
Don't know what it stands for, but it sounds cool.
It sounds
Smelly,
cool.
crusty
But no,
arse
I don't
neighbour.
prefer it for like a lot of things, but just sometimes I don't like it when people they take others' art. I see it all on Instagram, and I'm like, no, that is gross.
Yeah, no,
But-
we had a run-in with a Doctor Who AI guy, didn't we, Joe, on Twitter?
Oh,
He AI extended my
reported him.
artwork and was like, "Oh yeah, this will improve it." No, you literally just added more clouds around the edge.
bruh, nah.
And then when I
I-
said don't do that, he blocked me and he blocks everyone that tells him off.
I told him to delete his account. And he said,
I
and he
What I
said
mean
no.
is valid. What I mean about
Only the
AI
finest
is I just want to
cyberbullying on the
remove the
Filmian
people.
podcast.
Top notch.
You
For
come
real.
for one of our hosts.
You come from all
We
of
will
us.
attack back.
We will attack.
You come for Joe, we come for you.
Fine,
True.
we will use the old ways.
Fucking dark side pulls up.
Yeah, all of Doctor Who Twitter is like on your left.
No, because it generally brought the whole community together. Like,
It actually
why are
did.
you stealing Joe's artwork? I'm like, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
I love that.
My comment saying delete your account had more likes than the actual post.
You ratioed it.
Oh my god.
I love that. Oh my god.
Sorry, Caitlin, I interrupted.
Yeah, continue.
I honestly I didn't know about that. That was very interesting. You should give me their socials.
Oh, yeah,
just so
they're
I
still
could
going.
as well.
Yeah, they're still going.
Yeah, they're still
Ugh.
going. It's pretty gross.
I'll report him again.
They blocked me before I could block
I'll
them.
send my people on them.
Yes.
My people
Destroy
will
The
them.
talk to you.
Minecrafters.
Oh
Destroy them.
god.
Everybody's people.
What? Yeah, for real. Yeah. But no, I just. Also, the AI just didn't work for me, so that's another reason to not like it. I couldn't work it. I've just been done.
Joe's people,
But I just.
Caitlin's people, Sawan's sheep, and the IRA from my end. Be fun.
And some of Xander's hair follicles.
Who's Xander's people?
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming, Joe.
Xander's already in the thick of
Xander-
it. The man's
You were
already
in
on
that
the front
show?
line.
I'm
You
on the
Peter
front line.
Capaldi. You were in that show.
Well, that is all of our moans done. Let's move on to our non-spoiler section. Everyone, what is your thoughts and feelings on the first movie in the docket, Oppenheimer?
It's good.
It was good, but it was fucking long.
It was way
It was
too
pretty
long.
good, but yeah, very long.
Disagree. I thought it was awesome, and it might be my favorite film of the year so far. Question mark.
Xander wrong?
I second this.
Xander
I
die?
second this. He's actually not on his own
There-
on this.
Hamish, you haven't seen Barbie.
Sue?
Oh, we're talking about Oppenheimer, you goblin.
Yeah.
Gonna be
what-
honest. Gonna be honest with you, Joe. I am more hyped for Oppenheimer than I am Barbie.
But you've seen
So-
Oppenheimer, so
You've seen it.
No, but I even before.
But he's more hyped
I-
to see it again than he is to see.
I
Barbie.
actually am. I've planned to go see it again.
No, it's so much better when you actually watch it. Oppenheimer, I feel like I watched it just so I can say I
yeah,
watched
I don't.
Like I would never. Like, if it hadn't been on the same day as Barbie, I would have been like, eh.
I was tempted
Wait,
not
no,
to go
okay.
see Oppenheimer. That was how close I was.
No,
Wait. I will disagree. I do want to see it again, but fucking hell, give me a moment.
I'll watch it at home.
It like it's so good. It genuinely is, but you can tell it's 3 hours.
I think that's a good thing.
It
because
felt
it's
longer than
meant-
Watchmen.
It's meant to. It's meant to like it's meant to like leave you with a heaviness on your shoulders. Like,
It did.
It's messed up. I finished it and I was like, I need to sleep. Like, I don't like this.
This.
I understand that, but like, sorry, Joe.
Oh no, go on.
I understand that you like need to leave with like the feeling of it, and I agree that is good to a sense, but I just think you need more to the film than that. Like, that can't be your only reason for having it as being 3 hours long. It's just tiresome. I don't want to get through the rest of the film half the time, and I'm like, And also, I will say some of the shots I didn't really like very much, or weren't great.
To be fair, some of them were a bit blurry.
Yeah,
they were
a lot.
not focused.
Some of them are blurry. I saw a lot that like they didn't feel finished, or they didn't end properly. It's like they were filming a transition, but they didn't film the full transition. They just cut it halfway through.
You know how in editing, when they say in a conversation, you don't cut to the person when they start a new word. You do like a J cut or an L cut. With this, it was like someone said something, and then as soon as someone else started talking, they cut. There was lots of cutting back and forth, and that's a problem I have with a lot of Christopher Nolan films. The conversations are too quick, and they're too cutty. Xana's can disagree.
Yeah.
I really like Nolan's editing in this movie. I know it's not him doing it, but like I really
just
like
sat
the
down with
way
a little
this film
laptop.
is edited. And I
Upset.
really do. I don't know, man. I love the non-linear storytelling of this. I think he does it with literally like all of his movies, and for this one it really works because I think if you were to watch this all chronologically, it would feel, I think, a lot heavier than it does.
It does make
and it
the
would be a
ending
bit
a bit
longer.
more. It makes the ending a bit more. Oh, okay. Like the ending has more impact considering it's not linear,
Yeah.
which I'll agree with you there. Like the ending
Yes.
works because of how it's structured.
I think the issue with Nolan is that in a lot of his movies, his characters speak like supercomputers to one another. Like they are lacking a little bit of emotional depth to them, and even there is a certain like coldness about his movies. There's just a little shred of humanity in there, because what I've noticed with a lot of Nolan's movies is that they rely more on the actors rather than the script itself. He relies on the performance to uplift a good script, but not like an amazing script. And that's the issue. Like, I saw bad example. But I saw someone say, like, how are you gonna make 2 sex scenes with Florence Pugh of all people look like the most like devoid of emotion thing ever? And I was like, it's a bad example.
That sex scene was something.
But like at the same time, I kind of get it. Like I know the
pretty
whole
emotionless.
the movie's meant to make you feel hollow because that's what he feels. But at the same time, I'm like, there's other ways of doing this rather than like searing that into my mind with a cattle prod. Like,
I don't think he felt hollow when it happened. I think I felt hollow because it was motionless and emotionless.
I feel like I enjoyed the emotionless aspect just because it is a very serious topic. And I think with the lack of emotions, it put your brain more into the facts of what is actually happening. And it felt more documentary style in that way.
agreed.
With the lack of emotions, and I feel like that was important. I feel like if they had included more emotions, it wouldn't have been about the actual story. It would have been about the people who made it. That the story itself is not about the characters. It is about the story that progressed. It's about how it, the bomb eventually went off and
True.
their thought process.
Wait,
for
no,
that
Spoilers,
kind of
guys.
save that for the spoiler
Spoilers.
section.
What? The bomb went off
They don't know when it goes off though.
80 years ago. What?
No, I meant in the
What?
film. Timestamp.
But yeah, I think I liked the emotionless aspect, but I really think they should have done more with the script. Just something. I think it wasn't paced. I didn't enjoy the pacing.
It's
Really.
missing a shred of life.
I
Xander's dying.
No, because
I quite
I'm
liked the
I'm
pacing.
building up ideas.
I quite like the pacing, I think, because, like we said earlier, Nolan tends to jump back and forth, and he does it with Dunkirk, and that was needlessly sort of complicated. But with this, it makes sense, and it makes later things sort of make sense. But the last hour sort of focuses on one thing. I think I didn't know what the time was, but I think it was like an hour. And even though it's literally just talking, I was gripped. I think
Yeah.
the pacing.
The last
No, 100%.
hour.
I think
That last
from
hour
when
was
they
good.
get to, is it Los
Los Alamos.
that place?
Alamos.
From where they get to there. Actually, I say I think the beginning's a bit jumpy, but from when they get to that place onwards, I'm really happy with the pacing. So I think it could have been
Yeah.
shortened a tiny bit, maybe by 10-15 minutes. But I think the pacing works. But the
Yeah.
dialogue, yes, is a bit robotic. Also, sometimes it's quite hard to hear. It's not as bad in this film as it was in Tenet and that, but there were times where I'm like, okay, you've kind of focusing on the rustling of clothes and the dialogue, and why is the wind so loud? I got enough of the
there's only
dialogue to understand it.
One thing I wanted to say is that the sound design is amazing.
I
Like
agree.
every
100%.
moment is like, especially when you're in like a big cinema with a great sound system, it's like thumping. It's really great sound work. But then the sound mixing is a problem that Nolan's had for a while. Like he just like, the score is fire, absolutely. But like, let me hear what the people are saying, because that seems slightly more important right now. But that, yeah, like you said, it's not. It doesn't happen as much. Like in Tenet, there were full conversations that I couldn't hear in the cinema. And I still don't understand that movie. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel so stupid. I sat and watched it last week, and I was like, I don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Isn't it just a loop?
I
I
don't
haven't
know.
seen
I
it.
don't.
I've not
know,
seen it.
Simon.
Oh,
Wait,
someone's out here
get it.
spoiling it for everyone. Whoa.
It came out like 5 years ago.
Spoilers.
Well, this history event was like, what, 80 years ago, and I didn't know
80
anything about
years
it.
ago.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
your
either.
fault.
You don't
I mean,
know
this was a
anything
history
about
lesson
it.
for me. Can I quickly talk about the
That's a
soundtrack?
heck of a history
Can I quickly
lesson.
talk about the soundtrack?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold on. Can I quickly add something to the point about pacing?
Yes.
I think the runtime is necessary. To go against what you guys said, because I think
Yes.
yes, everyone's there to watch Big Bomb drop and Big Bomb go boom, because that scratches little itch at the back of our heads. It's like guys dropping like rocks into a pond. You know, this is the biggest rock we've ever dropped into a pond.
Hell yeah.
And we're happy, you know? It's like, caveman, big boom. But like, yeah, it's like that. And
Quantum mechanics.
the explosion itself is stunning.
Yes.
But I think as well, it's necessary for us to understand what happened after, and not just understand it in a cinematic way which fits a correct runtime, but to understand all the angles and what this man went through, and the horrendous ethical conflictions that he had to deal with. I think that there's no amount of like dramatization or cutting or rearranging the story that should happen in that case, because this is like one of the worst losses of human life that we have ever inflicted on our own species. That was my TED Talk.
Can I make a joke to lighten the mood?
Yeah.
Is this the most severe case of post-nut clarity in history?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
With
What
which
did they
bit?
expect?
He seemed very up for it, and then it happened, and he's like, "Oh God, what have I
Oh,
done?"
I thought you meant the
what
actual
did he
sex
expect?
scenes in your review.
No, I
Oh,
meant like the
like-
bomb. Like he's just not a happy man, is he?
Like,
Joe didn't click. No, I love that aspect of the film. Like that was literally one of the reasons why I rated it the way I did. Like it was going to be lower until they showed that true part of it of like, oh my god, what have I done? I loved it. I loved that they didn't, make him the hero or, because he basically learned that, America's horrible. Okay, great. The world is horrible. People are horrible. And I enjoyed that they went with that angle instead of oopsies, soz,
Whoopsie dupsie.
and then cut film. I 100% agree with Hamish of like the ending. Like I enjoyed the time. However, my ADHD brain will just not allow
That
me
is
to sit
fair.
that. Like I just physically cannot. I don't think I will ever be able to watch that film again if I'm not having to be able to pause it because my brain is having a little wander 5 minutes down the road, and I missed so much of the conversation just because I was looking into his eyes. I was like, that I like his eyes, or wow, that's an interesting person in the background.
His eyes were
And I think-
glorious.
They were
were
amazing.
piercing.
Killian's eyes. I
Those are
love
some of the
his
shots
eyes.
that were my favourite, just because of those.
The amount of people
But,
I've seen on TikTok
yeah.
saying somebody give him brown contact lenses. Just so his eyes aren't as
Dreamy.
out there. Yeah.
I love them.
I really like the soundtrack. With a lot of Nolan films, there's the sort of recurring theme of like the music like constantly rising. Like in Dunkirk, you've got this technique they use where the music's lowering and rising at the same time, so it sounds like it's constantly rising, but it's not, which is pretty cool. But this one, I have a little factoid for all of you. I found this online. So the track "Can You Hear the Music," which is sort of like a recurring one throughout, has 21 tempo changes in it, which meant that it's virtually impossible to play, but the musicians got it in one, or they got it in one constant recording from start to finish, which is why it sounds like so fucking good. I love the music. It's just
It's a really good soundtrack. It's a really good soundtrack.
It is
Ludwig
really good.
Göransson never misses.
Neither does Lorne Balfe. Let's
No,
go.
He's fire.
He's fire.
Fire
yeah.
like the explosion.
I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not gonna do a joke.
I think
He's
Amy's just made
double.
it for you.
Yeah.
Performances though, Cillian Murphy carries this on his back for 3 hours, and that's
Cillian.
tough. That is really tough. And he's
I'd
just
argue
immense in
Robert
this.
Downey Jr.
is
as
amazing.
well. He was amazing in this. Like, but he gave a phenomenal performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Emily Blunt.
That scene.
I was
I was like,
surprised.
yes.
I wasn't expecting too much, and then that I feel like it hammered. It brought me back into the film at that moment.
Yeah.
I was engaged. I loved that
I
scene.
don't think he
Yeah,
passed the
Emily Blunt
Bechdel
has-
test, though. There's a lot of men in this film.
No, but, Emily Blunt is one of those actors that I always forget about when we talk about really great actresses. And I'm like, and then I see her, I see her be in something, and I'm like, oh yeah, Emily Blunt's in this. And then when she gives an incredible performance, I'm shocked every single time.
No, she is amazing at what she does. Like, I don't know, I just she's amazing. I feel like she can make a connection. I feel like when we talk about the lack of emotion, I think she kind of
She does makeup.
brings that back. She is the audience's emotion in that way, I think, and I think that really helps. And it's just she's amazing. Chef's kiss. Mwah. She's also beautiful.
Very.
So
Stunning.
you know.
And then there's Rami Malek.
I loved Rami
Rami
Malek
Malek
in this
rocked
film.
up.
He was so good.
I
Why
was
is
convinced
this...
he was just a background extra because he was like, oh, Nolan wants someone? Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I
why,
thought
why
that
is
first.
this movie like the end game portal scene where like everyone shows up, even if it's like in a line where they just drop a shot where they drop a single line, everyone's here.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, that person's in this, that person's in this, he's in this, everybody's in this.
I'll be honest though, Josh Peck being in it really threw me out because at one point he did the face. He was like,
Who's Josh Peck?
from Drake and Josh.
He was holding the red
Drake and
button
Josh.
in case it went
That was
wrong.
him? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I literally whispered to Savannah, I was like, oh, it's Josh!
And then there's Jack Quaid as well.
Wait.
Love Jack Quaid.
There is someone who I think did very good. Was Jason Clarke? I just got his name because I forgot his name.
Jason
He's
Clarke's
the guy that
so
does
good.
the interrogating. If you don't know the names.
Oh, he was, yes.
I'm sorry, if someone would talk to me like that, I would cry in his face.
Is this it? Wait, the guy
100%.
interrogating Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hate
I'll get
him
you.
in everything he's
Him.
in because he's got such a nasty
Really?
aura about him. He plays such a good villain.
He does, but it
and
works.
I hate him. Like, as soon as he
really
turned
good.
up, I was like,
Terrifying.
I'm gonna hate you, I know it.
Yeah,
That
he's
one scene that's like now turned into a meme. I would cry.
he's also
if
in
somebody
like
talked
so
to me
much
like
of the
that.
movie. He's like he's throughout. He's a constant.
I feel like he is...
Cunt.
I feel like he's almost a narrator, in sorts.
at points, yeah.
I feel like he can help,
He does piece it all
go
together.
sort of through.
This
Yeah.
film, this film is a good example of just making talking really exciting. Like, oh,
Yeah.
they've said that. Oh, now they said that. Oh, it's great.
And yeah, I feel like with going back to that pacing, like with the script and everything, I feel like in those scenes where he is, I feel like some of those lines could have been cut. I feel like some of those moments could have been cut. I understand that they were very hammering home the interrogation part of it and how brutal he was being. I just feel like some parts were just not necessary with that. But he was amazing as an actor.
I think a really understated performance in this is it Aldrin Eric's? What's his name? Plays Solo.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Him.
Yeah.
He's gonna be big. I know it. He's such an amazing actor. Like, he's good in Hail Caesar. He's good in Solo. He was great in this. I loved his line at the end. I'll say it in the spoiler review, but I just love him so much. He's like peak man. I think I aspire to be like him.
And then we got Matt Damon.
And Matt Damon's in this.
I actually love Matt Damon, I
is.
think he might be one of my favorite actors. He just, everything he's in, he's just like, just really good. Cool guy.
Pretty
Yeah,
cute.
I feel like he wasn't outstanding, but I feel like he was a great character. And, helped. I feel like, I don't know, words. He was good.
Is there anything else we want to talk about before we get into spoilers?
I've got a few
think-
things.
Oh,
Go for it.
rattle them off.
I've never been so nervous in a cinema than when that countdown started. Like, I was breathing very heavily. I literally was holding myself because I was terrified, and I had my fingers in my ears as well. I was like, this is going to be so loud. I'm really scared right now. I know the bomb isn't actually in the cinema, but I don't know what this madman is going to do, how he's going to do it. I was shitting myself in the cinema.
Yeah, the way that is done is insane. So I do want to talk about that again.
Yeah, we'll
In
bring
the
it. We'll
spoiler
bring
we
it up
have
again.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it.
How can we not
amazing.
talk about it?
I didn't quite understand all of the
Oh.
film.
I feel dumb every
What do you
time I
mean?
watch a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
So
No, I felt really dumb.
how we were talking about, there's lots of dialogue back and forth, and the audio issues don't help. But there's some bits where I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting this, but I'm not 100%. I got most of it. I think I got the important stuff. And at the end, I was sort of like, okay, you've lost me. And then it got me back at one point. Okay, got ya. Like, there was a point where I just sat there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give up soon trying to understand this. But I got there again. Maybe it's because I'm stupid, but
Are these points spoilery or?
no. This is. I'm not saying
I won't
anything
talk about-
specific. Just
Oh,
in
okay.
general, some of it.
I
lost
want.
me.
Yeah. Once again, we'll talk about that in the spoiler section as well.
Alrighty, we are now moving on to our non-spoiler our non-spoiler section. No, our spoiler section.
Oh, spoiler.
Okay, I'll take that again. We are now moving on to our spoiler section now that Joe has finished his last little tidbits at the end there. There should be a spoiler warning playing around about now.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
Kaboom! What an amazing
Spoiler.
spoiler warning that was. Guys, what are your burning secrets, your burning hatreds, your burning loves about this movie?
Fucking bomb went off.
A bomb explodes.
2 bomb explodes.
a big
3.
bomb.
I have 2 favourite moments in this movie. One is where they reveal John F. Kennedy like a Marvel cameo.
Yes, I wanted to
Incredible.
say that.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And 2 is when they introduce a new character who's like this really dangerous head of security, and it takes them ages to reveal who it is, and then they reveal it's Casey Affleck, and I squealed. That was really cool.
Oh wait, was that?
It's Casey Affleck.
I
know
don't know.
him.
I didn't see that as a reveal because I don't know who Casey Affleck is. I just thought,
But they just
he
took
looks-
so
he
long
looks
to reveal
evil.
his face, and I was like,
Why did it have to be Casey?
because Casey Affleck's got that
With-
dead face. That... Oh,
Same.
right. Okay.
Can we talk about the sex?
Oh my god.
Let's talk
In
about
the
sex,
boardroom.
baby.
It was in the
Let's talk
boardroom.
about
I
you
wanted to
and me.
die.
See, that's one thing I really love about this movie is that you see when it's in color, you see everything from Oppenheimer's point of view, and even in that moment, like he's in the boardroom and he's naked because he's like, well, I'm being exposed. He feels so vulnerable. When someone's talking about like seeing a rocket through through a plane, he's in the cockpit. He's imagining himself in there. That's what I love about this movie, is that you actually see things that he would be thinking of. And in that moment,
love
that's
that.
what either he's thinking of or Emily Blunt is thinking of, because they're
I believe
locking
it was
eyes.
Emily. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so
I believe it was
awkward.
Emily Blunt. But no, I liked it. I liked the intention, but I did just want to crawl up in a little ball and die in the theatre right there.
I'm glad I didn't sit with my dad.
Especially with old people next to us, so...
I'll be honest, it was insane seeing Florence Pugh's boobies in IMAX. Like that, I did not expect to see
Okay,
her nipples
no.
in that big a screen. Like I was like,
I will say, why did they include them so much? Like, it kind of is like, do you know if you, like, pay for an actor and it's like, oh, you know, you have to do this now, or like, oh, we're going to show extra this or this because we paid for it. It's kind of like that, I feel. It's like, guys, I want you to know that she is naked in this film.
Women have
We are allowed
boobs.
to
This
see
is
her boobs.
proof.
And I just feel
I'm
like it's in
upset I
almost
didn't
every single
I'm
shot.
upset I didn't see Cillian Murphy's dick.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to do like a
watch-
basic
ju-
instinct
just
and
go watch
uncross
28
his legs.
Days Later. The dude hangs dong in that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, that's very true.
Really?
Yeah, dude hangs dong. Yeah.
I hate that.
See when we've seen that.
I don't remember that.
I don't either.
This one's
He's doing all right
snapping
for
a
himself as well.
picture.
Wait, what film's it?
28 Days Later.
Days later.
I've not
I do find it funny
Yeah,
that
I'm
one of
glad
the
I've not
most
watched it.
He's
important,
doing all right. Yeah.
one of the most important lines of "I am become death, destroyer of," is with Florence Pugh over him, making him read it with her tits out. I was like, what a great way
That
to
was a
read this
weird
line.
kink.
I know,
Yeah.
but if that's happening to
Read
you,
the
if that's
book.
happening to you, you'd read anything. I'd read anything.
I thought she was like just gonna
she's got a
slowly
copy of
lower
Mein
the
Kampf,
book
I'd
and
read
like
that.
boom
She's there,
boobs.
absolutely.
I'd fucking translate it to Baba Black Sheep. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Explosion was real good though.
What
That-
explosion!
I will agree with Joe. I was terrified leading up, thinking he's gonna be so loud, and then it was quiet, and you're just like,
It wasn't
it's the
too loud.
silence, and then I got a jump scare because
Yeah, because you
I
know it's
I
coming.
loved
You
it.
know it's coming.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I think visually is beautiful. It's shot beautifully, but it's not a very big explosion, is it? I don't know. I feel as if I hold on. Let me finish. Let me cook. Let me cook.
don't think they could have made it any bigger
No.
legally.
No, I feel as if like we needed a wider shot to like get
Like a little
To show the
sight
scale
the
of it.
scale.
from space.
Like because the shot of the explosion is close up. It is. We follow the pillar up and into the mushroom cloud, but we don't actually see it from far away. I would have appreciated seeing it.
just quickly, it reminds me of
Now,
in Over
I'm
the
about
Hedge.
to be told how wrong I am.
You know, in Over the Hedge, where
Yes!
that machine goes off, and you just see from space this little tiny explosion. Do you want that sort of thing?
Yeah.
No, I just want from as they turn around, because we see them all turn around and look at the Xander's like gagging, turning around like looking at the explosion, but we don't actually see from their perspective like the size, the weight of it.
Okay. Before you finish, not to keep babbling on about this, but I did see this in IMAX, and that scene is like the biggest format you get, and the whole screen is filled up with the giant explosion.
No.
Yes, I know what you mean. Seeing it normally, absolutely, but once you see it in its like necessary format, it's huge, bro. It's huge. It takes up the whole wall.
Yeah, no, I get
it's
that.
Huge.
Like again, I appreciate that, and the whole idea of the shot is like it's focusing on the beauty of the fire, the destructive force that he's just created. But at the same time, just like the same way guys like watching the big splosh of the rock fall in the pond, I want to see it from like a little bit away. I want to see the big fucking mushroom cloud like from afar, seeing just how far it goes up. I want to see that.
Let us see the toad.
Go on, Kaylee.
Can I please? My arm's starting to hurt.
Sorry, Caitlin.
Okay, oh good, don't worry. I think the reason they didn't show the actual impact is the same reason they didn't show when Oppenheimer was looking at the victims of it. I think it is respect for Japan and the victims who suffered that, because I feel like that would be almost insensitive to show. And also I believe the reason they did a close-up on the explosion, it wasn't just to see pretty fire, it was to show the chain reaction, because that was discussed earlier, how they didn't know that the chain reaction would stop.
That's very true.
So they were watching not the explosion itself, it was the chain reaction of it. And I feel like that close-up was needed to see the true how it was making mini explosions, because I think you didn't see that essence without it. And I feel for both of those reasons, that is why you didn't see it. I kind of agree that it would have been fun
That's such
to
a
see,
fucking
like,
good point.
the thing.
It's a really good
That
point.
is such a good point, Caitlin. Oh my god.
Someone paid attention to this movie.
No, agreed.
Excellent.
Phenomenally well done. That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
It's just like the guy part of my brain just wants that little itch scratched, you know?
I feel like I get that, but I also feel similar with Joe saying over the hedge. I feel like if they went a full zoomed out shot, because you wouldn't be able to give a full zoomed out shot without going into space, because that explosion was so big. You would have to go into space to see it. And I feel like at that point, it gets a bit cringy. Like, it's going a bit like, we're not in a serious documentary style anymore. We're going literally out of this world. It kind of breaks it. I feel like if we're close up, that is what you would see if you were close to that bomb. You would see nothing else apart from that.
That's very true.
So, yeah.
Agreed.
That's my point.
What do you think of everyone's opinions that you should have been seeing, like, what happened in Japan? Because I'm of the opinion that they played it off kind of perfectly. Like, they're all
We don't need
just
to
like
see it.
at
We
the
don't need to see
base,
it.
and they hear it through the radio, and they're all heartbroken. Like, it's because it is awful what happens.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way they did this.
I feel like that is the only really way that you can do it without making it insensitive.
Yeah.
Because you would either have to put makeup on someone to look like that, and that is just disgusting, or you'd have to show real images. And I feel at that point, you're just putting it in for shock value.
Yeah.
We all know what happened. We all know what had happened. And I feel like, in no way, no one should want to see that. It's a disgusting sight. You shouldn't be intrigued to watch it. It's a tragedy, and I feel like that needs to be like hammered home. And I think with them not showing it, it shows truly how gruesome it was.
And also, like, he has a moment to look at the showing slides from the damage afterwards, and he doesn't look.
Yeah.
He can't look, and that's also really well done, because he doesn't look. He's like, and it doesn't show you either. Really important moment.
Yeah.
It makes you feel how he would feel actually seeing them, without us actually seeing them. And also, I don't know if it would be a great. I feel like some people just wouldn't watch it. Like, the rating would have gone a bit screw if they'd shown like that. I feel like the way they showed it with the people exploding, like not exploding,
melting.
The
like
Yeah, the melt.
like the
yeah,
woman's
I thought you
skin
said.
like
I
coming off her face.
thought you said nutting, and I was so concerned.
Oh!
I really agree. Like that, the way they showed that is probably the furthest they could have gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Sauce.
And
Okay.
I think it's incredibly important as well that we're taught that like it's not some like big victory either. Like the guy's heartbroken. I will say the one tragedy I'm surprised they didn't touch on from like the whole creation of the nuke is we all know the scene from like the trailers when they're slotting all the bits and pieces onto the core of the bomb. So that core is meant to be called the Demon Core. It was nicknamed that because everyone that was slotting those parts on died. Every single person that put that bomb together hand by hand all died from cancer in the next 2 months. They absorbed, I believe, about 12 times as much radiation from the nuke as the nuke gave out itself.
Jeez.
Like, there's a really famous, like, documented happening when they were all told to stand where they were in the room, and they measured how much radiation each of them were absorbing. Everyone that put that bomb together died in most horrific radiation poisoning.
They kind of
anything
hint.
like Chernobyl.
Worse.
Huh.
They
Wait,
ki-
Like, you can't get near the elephant's foot in Chernobyl.
they
but-
ki-
No, but like, have you seen the show? Do you know, like,
No.
you see? Okay, right.
Yeah,
But, like-
it'll be on that same level then, Sue.
Yeah.
It'll be on that
Yeah.
same level.
Yeah. They absorbed such disgusting amounts of radiation.
they kind of.
The movie doesn't touch on it at all, and I was a little shocked at that.
I think they kind of hinted it, not to that level, but they talk about how pregnancies have gone down.
Yeah,
It disrupted
they
fertility
note
and
that.
stuff.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they note that, but like the U.S. government made like they volunteered to come, but like at the end of the day, it's the U.S. government. Like they should have given them proper safe working conditions to handle uranium like that.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely should have touched upon it. I don't think they should have gone too much into it. More because radiation poisoning is a horrible thing.
No,
But that's not what the film was about.
No, I
And also it is more insensitive to like any families who knew them. But also, once again, with the pacing, the film was so long
yeah.
that I think if they went down I feel like similar to how the people had, with the babies gone down, I feel like they should have shown
But it,
just a 5-second clip of that.
but it's also
something hinted.
it's also like respectfully, the movie's not about them. It's not even about the bomb.
Yeah.
It's about Oppenheimer, and he was absolutely not thinking about that. He was thinking about the 200,000 people he just nuked over in Japan. Like that's why he wasn't thinking about all these guys have died. He was thinking about the bomb that he created and the devastation that had, and then this whole thing with his security clearance. He would like that. That's why the movie doesn't touch on it. It's because the movie's not about them.
Where I'd pivot on that and where I can see it, because he coming in. He has a lot of like guilt about creating the bomb and the loss of life with the bomb, but even like creating the bomb itself was killing people. I think that could have been a note touched upon, but that's just me being a history buff.
I feel.
Go on.
Yeah. Bro. I would say with that, it's, I feel like they could have touched upon it and shown how the guilt would have started as soon as those people started showing symptoms.
Yeah.
It's a mass tragedy with so many lives lost. And I don't think they should have gone too much into it, similar to how they didn't go into too much into, all those people.
In Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah. Exactly. They didn't really go into, like, them or their stories or anything like that, but just because it's... I feel like they didn't need to. They shouldn't have. But I agree. They should. I feel like they could have made a nod to it, just to be like,
Pay homage to them.
yeah, just to be like, not even just them, just everyone who worked on that who may have gotten
Sick.
injured or sick, or because I feel like the only real notes are that the birth rate's gone down and how the female, remember she was like, oh, I want to be working on there, and they were like, no, you're a woman, you can't, your reproductive organs can't go in that, and she was like, absolutely not, that's not your decision to make, and also yours is more exposed than mine, which is very true. But
dangling. Sorry.
Exactly. I hate that actually. But no, I feel like that's the only real thing that it's touched upon. But then again, I feel like if they had touched upon it anymore, it would have been a 4 to 5 hour movie. This film could literally go on for years. It could be like a show that goes on for years. There's so much information that happened.
The movie's a bit of a Pandora's box of problems that plagued the development of the bomb. And yeah, I think once we begin to like say like, oh, we could have paid homage to this, paid homage to that, it very quickly spirals. But yeah, I mean that, yeah, it was a small footnote. I absolutely.
Joe, do you have something to say?
Oh,
I've kind of
Joe's
got.
had his hand up for ages.
Joe's
I've kind of got 2 or 3 things to say.
okay.
One of them I don't know if I should say now because we've been talking about how it's quite a. I don't know. I'll save that one till last.
You can say it.
The first one, I thought it was really not nice, but like a detail that I thought was, oh my god, was when they were deciding which city to bomb, and he was like, no, not there, because I love going on holiday there. That's sickening.
Crazy, you know.
It's sickening.
That weirdly got a
it's
huge
horrendous.
laugh in my audience.
That did as well.
Why
No,
are they
because
laughing?
it's so ridiculous that it is funny. It's like
it did get a chuckle in our audience as well.
yeah.
Did it?
Was it like awkward laughter, like
No,
No.
like I said, we had old people. They were chuckling.
Yeah, it was a chuckle because like it's such a ridiculous thing to say. We need to nuke this country, but not here. I like going on holiday there.
But
That's outrageous.
I feel like it also just truly shows the basis of America and how the people who run that country are.
Yeah.
I had.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna make a small note. I had this like massive like hairy old man on our road to the right of me, and the man was like cackling whenever like they were like, oh yeah, no, like the bomb's been dropped, everyone's like dead. He's like like fucking like slapping his knee, and like I was like, oh. And then like side note, he really pissed me off. I was like trying to get out to go to the toilet. I stood on his foot, and he was like, excuse me? And I was like, I turned around to him, I went really close to his face, and went, I can't fucking see! We're in the dark! And then I went out.
And then you came back in and sat on a different row.
No,
That's what I'd have done.
no, I scooted right past them again.
No regrets.
I think this features one of Nolan's best directed scenes, and it's probably not the one you're thinking of.
I think it is the one I'm thinking of.
It's so he, after the atomic bomb has been created and it's been sent off, he does like a press conference, and he gets up there and there's all the round of applause and the flashes.
That was terrifying.
And all of a sudden it flashes and it's like it's that, and then it's like
There's a scream.
There's a scream from a girl, and that got me. I was like, oh my god. And then the cheering and the clapping's muted, and you hear like just some screams, and then the flashing from the camera turns into the flash of the atomic bomb, and as you said earlier, her face starts to melt, and you've got him stepping in someone's like cremated remains, someone's carcass. It's a terrifying. I didn't expect it. It's absolutely terrifying. That was one of the highlights of the film.
I love that scene.
There's people crying, there's people like puking, and you don't know what's real again because you're in his head. You're not sure who's real here, who's actually reacting this way, and who's actually like applauding like crazy.
Yeah, so I think the argument of
awful scene.
Nagasaki and Hiroshima needed to be included is stupid. Because one, it would be really disrespectful and I think a bit over the top to show that after you've gone through the motions of them blowing up the bomb. But also that scene is enough to represent what sort of happened, and And also as a side note, if you want to learn about that, 10 years to the day that I saw it, 26th of July, the Wolverine came out. So if you watch the beginning of that film, that explains it and shows it.
Yeah.
I've connected
It also
dots.
explains how Hugh
What?
Jackman was at Nagasaki.
Yeah,
Good on him.
historically accurate.
See, I haven't watched Wolverine. To me, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
at the
At the
start,
start,
yeah. The whole film's set in Japan.
He's there.
He saves a guy.
And he's there at the start. He
'Cause
saves a guy.
Wolverine's invincible, so he just
And he ends
lays
up
on this
becoming the
guy.
Silver Samurai. Yeah, he's like an old man in
Is
a
this a
big mech
reason?
suit.
Is this one of the reasons why I'm not allowed to watch Wolverine?
Well, it's quite violent anyway, but
It's a good movie though. It's underrated as hell.
I don't like it. We're gonna argue about this. Moving on.
The other big sort of quote unquote cameo that you might say is Gary Oldman as President Truman.
I was surprised about that.
Yeah, I
He
saw
was
it
a
and I was
dick.
like, that's Gary Oldman. I know that guy.
He was such a dick.
This is another example of me being really stupid because I didn't know that there was a president with the surname. What was it again?
Truman.
Truman. I hadn't heard of that. I was like, is this a fictional president? But I was like, no, this is a biopic. I've not heard of this guy before. I've just had to Google him. He did exist.
Harry Truman.
Harry Truman.
He was like, but he was so what's the word for it?
He's a bit
Callous.
hostile.
Condescending.
Maybe I don't know what. word I'm thinking of.
Unfeeling.
That one.
Like Oppenheimer
He
felt
just
all
like,
this
oh, yeah, we
guilt,
bombed.
and then he was like,
We
"No, you
bombed this
shouldn't feel the
place."
guilt. I should feel the guilt because I'm the one that told them to do it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't,
And then he
It was
calls him a
almost
don't send that
crybaby.
crybaby back in." Yeah.
Once again, I kind of love it in the way that it shows the true flaws of America, how it's not a good place. The people who run it are not good people.
But
They
I think
literally
It
got-
shows
the interesting thing about that sentence that he says is that you shouldn't feel the sad about this because you didn't do this. I did this. I feel like because it's all told through Oppenheimer's eyes, you can sort of see that like maybe he said that in a slightly less forceful way. Because if you say that sentence in a less forceful way, you could see it as he's trying to comfort him. Like, mate, this isn't your fault. I did this. I asked you to do this. And I sent it off, so this is me. But the way he performs it, and the way the scene is, like, enacted, it feels like he's like, just shut up, man. Like, do you think this is you? Now this is me, bro. What are you talking about? I'm huge! But no, I think that's a really good use of the way, like, the story is told through Oppenheimer's eyes, that could be read in multiple different ways.
I know that
He
I
would feel
feel-
differently.
I know there was some controversy before the film of Nolan going, "Oh yeah, the black and white sequences are told through blah blah blah, and the color ones are whatever." But watching it makes sense what he said. You understand. I'm like, that makes sense. Like particularly in the scene where it was Oppenheimer was talking about. It begins with I. It was like he was at a panel and
Isotopes.
Isotopes. He's talking about isotopes, and Robert Downey Jr.'s character was there, and you see it from two different perspectives. You've got it from his,
Yeah.
and you've got it from Oppenheimer's, and what he's saying, it makes sense. It makes so much sense.
Like how it blends towards the end, definitely when you get like the reveal that RDJ is literally, he did this because he humiliated him about something. The way that it blends between black and white and then the colour, it works so well. And like the reveal at the end of it, like RDJ doing this because he was humiliated about something. But then he's completely wrong when you see at the end what he actually told Einstein. And like that final line though is chef's kiss.
Oh, wasn't it?
The whole final scene is
that
incredible.
final
maybe
scene
they
is
were talking
great.
about something more important than RDJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a
Yes.
great
I
line.
love that line. I was
so
like,
good.
Yeah.
But like he ruins a guy's life just because he thinks that, oh, I am the centre of attention.
so was Robert Downey Jr. in
Yeah.
support? Of
Doesn't
the
he know he's in
hydrogen-
the movie Oppenheimer?
Was he in support of the hydrogen bomb then, RDJ?
I think
Yes.
so.
What I don't know a lot about this.
I like
Did they use the hydrogen
Yeah.
bomb afterwards? Was this something that was used?
So the hydrogen bomb's idea is that it's still a large blast, but the idea was to set the hydrogen bomb off that would then start a continuous chain reaction to set off an atomic bomb. Oppenheimer jumped between sides of his duty of science and his job to create this, and to also go, holy shit, what are we actually giving these like politicians? Like, what kind of weapon are we giving them? And the ethical argument of, would he have still felt the same if a hydrogen bomb had been dropped on Nagasaki, is brought up. Robert Downey Jr.'s character is very much like focused on continuing his career, climbing that ladder. That's what the hearing's about. The hearing's about to see if he's appointed to the next kind of step up in the country to be a cabinet position for the president. And this cabinet hearing is trying to effectively halt that climb. It is a security check, effectively. And yeah, Oppenheimer challenged him quite a bit. There's a lot of shady shit going on there. We see in, like, I can't remember what meeting it's called, but with the round table, and they keep peering at each other through the flowers. Which is eventually lifted out in one scene.
What is quite cool with that, sorry, just quickly, is I don't know if it's before or after, but they don't draw attention to it, but you can see he plays Polka Dot Guy. You can see him in the background.
Yeah.
They don't acknowledge it, but he is there, and you're like, oh, he's the guy from earlier. He's at the meeting. And they don't draw attention to it until he comes up to Oppenheimer at the end saying, I'm not too keen on the idea of this.
Don't they say like multiple
times?
times?
That's also one of the scenes that is shown in both ways. It's shown in black and white and in colour. So you see it from everyone's perspective and Oppenheimer's perspective. And it's so interesting to see how differently those scenes are directed depending on who you're following.
Yeah.
So the scenes in colour are just like you see that Oppenheimer's like walking around a bit more, whereas in black and white he's just sat there and he's like stressed. Whereas he's walking about and he's clearly more into himself and he speaks a lot more when it's him because he's like, yeah, I remember this, like I spoke everything, you know. Just a really cool way of showing like maybe this narrator isn't as reliable as we think he is. So really interesting, really cool. Does anyone else have anything to bring up? Go on, Kate.
With the black and white sequence, I enjoyed it. Did you all know beforehand that was going to be used?
The black and
Yes.
white.
See, I had no idea. So I went into that film and I was so confused. I was like, what is happening? Like, what is... Eventually it clicked and I think it worked amazing. But without that prior knowledge...
Yeah.
I feel like I missed... Because instead of listening to what was happening and being engaged in that way, I was more going, what is happening? Who is who?
There was a lot of names to learn in this film, which I had trouble with.
And I felt very confused and dumb at that point.
Like, what was the Chev... There was an incident they mentioned, the Chevalier? Was it Chevalier? What was it? Yeah,
Chevalier.
I got a bit confused by that.
Most of
Good
the
Sandra?
people, that, like you said, there are a lot of names to remember, and that is really worrying when you have a big movie like this, when there's a lot of people involved and a lot of words, which is why I think Nolan has crafted like the biggest cast he could, because when you're trying to think of a character, you're like, oh no, that's Casey Affleck, I know that. Oh, that's Matt Damon. Oh, that one's Jack Quaid, yeah. So you know... Instead of being like, oh, I need to remember that character's name, you remember the actor's name and thus remember more of the movie because you're like, okay, instead of me trying to figure out who did this, I know the actor that did this and I know what they did. Really clever in terms of casting for this.
Yeah, I mean, we have been calling him RDJ the entire time instead of, you know...
Strauss.
But
Strauss?
Strauss. Louis
Strauss.
Strauss.
It's pronounced Strauss.
But...
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Strauss.
Strauss.
But, yeah, I feel like I was... Obviously, I'm kind of... In that way, since you've all seen that, I'm kind of representing the people who had not known that and just went to go watch it. It was very confusing. And I feel like maybe if I rewatched the film, once again, if I was at home and could have breaks, I would I feel like I would be able to get into that movie a lot quicker than I did. And I feel like maybe that's why I thought the pacing was off, purely for the fact that for the first quarter of that movie, I was wondering, why are we going to black and white? Like, do you know in some films when they do the cheesy, like, you know, like, the only thing I can think of is in Spider-Man where it goes Queens.
Oh, with the
And then it
text,
tells you, like, yeah, like, it just tells, like, where you are, what day is it, what time is it. Obviously, that is sometimes so cheesy. I just think maybe they needed something to help that. I feel like maybe even during the hearing, them just saying, as a very clear line, this is what the hearing is for. Like, when they're announcing stuff, they go, for the guy who types it all up, being like, I know this, you're this, I'm bloody blah, 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 blah. I feel like that was a missing point.
I appreciate that.
And it did, I very much enjoyed it in the later aspect where you were talking about it shows the different perspectives. But
yeah,
it took a minute.
Well, once you understand what's going on with the film, it's a lot more enjoyable. There's not so much of you have to really pay attention. Like I refuse to eat my sweets because I was like, if I chew, I'm not gonna be able to hear or pay attention. But watching this again with subtitles as well, you're gonna know what to expect. You'll be like, okay, he's being accused of communism. There's a spy. That's the spy from earlier. Blah blah blah. I know what RDJ's doing now, so I can look at him from the start and see how he's doing it. You know, the subsequent, like a rewatch with this would really help, I feel, and I think it would solidify it as an even better film.
That is why I have watched it twice. I saw it last week and then I saw it again yesterday, and you're absolutely right with a second watch, because I've started writing reviews on Letterboxd. You can follow my account. I'll put it in the description. And the first time I watched it, I couldn't write one. I was like, I need to see this. I need to see this thing again. And so yesterday I wrote a full one, and that sort of let me. You're right. A second viewing, once you know what's going to happen, you can sort of comfort yourself in a bit more, and you can spend time listening to a couple more things. So yeah, I think a second viewing did help me, but still really effective on the first viewing as well. Should we do obligatory number scores?
Obligatory number scores.
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
Obligatory number scores?
10 out of 10.
Ah, okay.
Or out of whatever you want to give it.
Who wants to go first? Who wants to throw their hat in the ring?
I'll go.
Okay.
Oh.
I feel like if it had been shorter, I would have given it a 6 or 7 out of 10. Due to the length of it, I went for a 5. But I was almost going for a 4. Maybe a rewatch would change that.
I was not expecting this.
But
Whoa, okay, I did not expect that.
I was expecting what, like an 8 or?
Yeah, same.
Sorry, it cut out. What did you rate it?
4.
a 5.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Savage!
Brutal.
Damn.
I will say, I don't know if this should be included, but since I had just watched a cinematic masterpiece an hour prior, maybe it would have been higher. However, I had watched the best film of the century literally beforehand.
Oh god, you guys are gonna hate me.
Yeah. We know.
No. Lando, when you mentioned your letterbox, it's gonna be a fun little conversation.
Oh Christ.
I can't wait for
Sander, I might have already told Caitlin what you wrote in your letterbox.
Oh shit.
Sorry.
it. That's what I wrote my notes message on.
Oh god.
Right.
I will give this. Like I said, it's might be my favorite movie of the year so far. If not, it's easy top 5. I'm going a big 10 on 10. Really like 5 stars. I really, really like this.
I'm gonna give it. You know, I am gonna give it a 10 on 10. I'm gonna match Sander on this. I think it did a phenomenal story. It did a
Thank you,
phenomenal
brother.
job at telling that story that it did. There are bits that it could have improved on, but I think like if you set like your differences aside, like if you're not actively trying to poke holes in the movie and you just appreciate for what it is, it does such a respectful job at telling the story that it does. And it sheds so much more light on one of the greatest injustices in scientific history when it comes to how people are treated when working on weapons of mass destruction. I love it. 10 out of 10.
Siwan?
I'm following Caitlin by the fact that it's getting lower because of the length, but I'm still giving it a 9. Don't worry.
Okay.
Do not worry. It is such a good film. Like, genuinely, I liked a lot. Like, I liked most of it. The acting, like, everything about it. It is genuinely, I will say, it is one of the best films of the year. I agree with you on that. But even if I do rewatch it, I might change it up to a 10 because, you know, you're used to the length by then. But first watch, because of the length, I'm going to give it a 9.
I think I'd give it. See, I was umming and ahhing with this of what to give Barbie and what to give this, and it started off as me preferring Oppenheimer, and then the night ended with me preferring Barbie. But we'll get into that. So I think I'm giving this an 8, but like a high 8. But if I rewatched it, understood a bit more of it, that it would go up. But for now, it's an 8.
It's rock solid.
Yeah.
Is that
I feel
okay?
like mine would go up if I watched it again. Maybe. I feel like I would probably go to like a 7.
I'm really shocked, Caitlin, because I actually thought you would have come out with because of the length. I'm going to give it an 8, and you just come out with a 5. I'm like
5!
Waste of my time.
Like, we literally did an hour
just think-
of you talking about it, and
just-
then he's like, 5.
No, I think it is a great film, 100%. But once again, I don't think I would have watched it if it hadn't come out the same day as Barbie. I feel like there was too many technical issues with shots and audio, and it was just too long. And I feel like with those 3 combined, it is an amazing story, but I'm not ranking it on its story because I can't rank history. You know, it's a real event.
That should be the title of this
I can't
episode.
Damn it, she's
Can't
got a
rank
point. She's got a point.
I can't say like, oh,
I changed my mind. It's 6.
World
It's
War
6
II
out of
was
10.
better than
like, you know, you can't rank it on that because they are just telling the truth. It's like saying a documentary, oh, that was a really good story. Okay, what did the director have to do with that? Are you like, I could literally do the same film and take the story, and by your logic, that would be at least a 6 or something. I just think it has too many flaws
Don't sell
to
yourself
be
short.
to be like a 10.
See, I didn't see
So-
any of the flaws with the shots. I thought it was shot really well.
Just a quick note. Did anyone feel like the frame rate changed in some shots? Like there were some close-ups of RDJ in black and white where it looked so smooth. Did anyone else notice that?
I didn't notice that.
I just
Those-
noticed, like, there was a few that was just
Those-
that tiny bit blurry, and you're like, you need to change it a tiny bit.
Those may
Yeah, and
those may have been the IMAX sequences. That's all I
Okay.
can think.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot with the transitions is it didn't flow as well. But I mean, overall, it was a very good film. But
We have spent longer than I thought we would talking about this movie.
Have fun on the edit.
Oh my god, we
Yeah.
have.
Hamish is gonna leave us now because he didn't go
I
watch
wasn't able
Barbie.
to. I've had to move house. It happens.
you better
It's
watch
also
it.
why
You
my
better
mic
watch it.
quality is a little bit lower than it usually is. I do apologise. My big fancy mic is currently packed away in a garage. Thank you very much for having me, guys. I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
no worries.
That's all right.
I'm gonna dump. May I appoint a new host?
Go for it.
Swan, I don't know who you're pointing to, but I'm going to take that as you volunteering yourself.
No, please no, please no. Caitlin, do it,
Point
Caitlin.
it to Swan.
No, please no, please no.
I'm going to see you guys later.
Hamish, where can the people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at hbeaton2864. The numbers mean nothing. If you haven't taken your meds, I am in your walls. And also you can find me on Twitter at Beaton Hamish. And yeah, See you there. Have a good one, guys.
Adios.
Bye bye.
Bye, Hamish.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
What a bastard. Oh, he's still here. Sorry.